What's up, guys? This is Voodoo for Voodoo's House of Hoodoo, and I'm joined by
Sean from DQ Gaming.
And we're going to continue going over the very basics that you will use to understand Mortal Kombat X. So, we went over combos. We're going to discuss how they are strings. Okay. Strings means a series of moves, tied together. In some cases, we have what's called true block strings, which means that when somebody's blocking, you cannot interrupt that string that's going on.
Okay.
So as we saw before with the two strings that I've used as Cassie, one is true, one is not. So we'll set for block mode on. I don't know why I turned it off then if that was the case. We'll set reversal mode back on to dash backwards, right? Notice how he backdashed.
Right.
And he didn't have to deal with the last hit. Okay? Because that's not a true block string. However, that is a true block string. So he can't interrupt it at all. So now, let's have a little bit of fun since we're going to do this. We're going to set reversal mode on instead of backdash. We're going to set barrier ice, which is his EX barrier.
Immediately was able to reverse it.
Immediately reversed it and froze me.
Huh.
Because he had reversal timing, and because it wasn't a true block string, he was able to do it. So the thing about the strings is you typically use strings to deal damage into your combos. Some are simple. This is a low. Alright, it's just down forward 1, but it actually does 3 moves, and the second hit's an overhead, which not a lot of people know about. The unique thing about this one, which is it's part of what makes Cassie really good, is that you can actually cancel out of the second hit, or you can cancel out of the first hit, if I can actually do it. So that's what makes Cassie pretty good, is that you can choose to go for the overhead or the low, and to the overhead.
Gotcha.
So she has all kinds of crazy overheads and lows.
Okay.
You'll also notice, too, is that the strings, deal a set amount of damage, and it shows it on the left there.
Right.
8% damage for that string. Now, if we do a little bit of math here, we're doing square, square, triangle, you'll see that that does 5 damage, that does 2 damage, and this does 2 damage. So 2 and 2 is 4 and 5 is 9. So wrong combo. So why does that do 8 damage if it's supposed to do 9 damage? Well, the reason why it does that is because there's something we call damage scaling. The way damage scaling works is the more hits you put into a combo, the less percentage each subsequent move is going to do. The way that works is like, okay, the more the combo goes on, the more damage you're going to end up losing, but it's nice because you're still doing a bunch of damage and you're still getting benefits out of what's going on. So I'll show a really easy basic Cassie combo, which I've done before. You'll probably see it. You've probably already seen it on my YouTube channel, but I'll still do it anyways. Okay. That didn't happen. I ended it in backflip kick, but you saw how the combo worked out. Right. Now, the damage for that combo is 22%. Well, there's no way that's 22%, because, let's look at this. That's 6 damage, right?
Right.
So this is 7 damage. That's 3 damage. So there's already 10. And then 3 more is 13. 13 and 6, there's 16. And then the first hit of that, because that was, I think, the only one I got, was 5. You know what I mean? So I got 20-something, so maybe I got the second hit on that.
Yeah, as you're hitting, I see obviously these are not even numbers, 3.91. It seems like as you continue on the combination, the amount of damage you potentially would have gotten at max, it starts to go down, and which makes it so that as soon as if someone were to have this unbreakable combination going through, then you don't have to worry about it taking away your entire life bar in one shot.
Right, and that's what it's doing. It's basically to balance the game, so that way you don't just lose in one combo.
Right.
You might lose in 3 combos, because there are some pretty damaging ones in the game.
I've had that happen to me before.
Yes, but that's where you get the meter to be able to break the combo.
Right.
And how important that is, and again, the importance of blocking, which I'm sure you didn't do.
Well, I went high, he went low. So.
Yeah, well, that'll definitely be something that happens then. That's how the scaling works as far as the combos go. So, block strings are the next thing. The way block strings work are exactly as it sounds. I mentioned true block strings before. Well, we're going to mention block strings now because it ties into the damage scaling part of it, which is what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. If you'll notice, it also says block damage next to damage and move data, which means every move has a certain amount of block damage it does. So let's go back to our basic one. So if you'll notice, 50, 50, and 1.25. All right, so 50, 50, and 1.25, well, how does that make sense? I mean, there's the 1.25, there's the 50, there's the 50. Well, it's because you can take so many hits of block damage, they decided not to scale the block damage. Because, I mean, look, that combo did nothing.
Right.
We'll add a special move at the end. That did a decent amount, but not a whole lot.
So there's no need to really scale it. Even though the gunshot took like 1.88 instead of...
Yeah, so it took about the same, almost the same amount as this does.
Hard to block bullets, so I mean, damage probably makes sense to be close to it. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be hard to block that too. I mean, look how much.
Oh Jesus!
2.25. It looks like she still clipped it.
Please, Cassie, don't touch. Ah! No, stop it.
And then.
Lin Kuei.
So there you have at least almost 4% damage off that. But I mean, that's wasting a meter for damage that you're not gonna get anyways.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, so. You're probably not going to spend meter on that. But, I mean, if this is the most you have to worry about, look where you end up afterwards.
Right.
So now we're going to discuss frame data. Frame data is where it becomes difficult, and this is where you're going to come in.
All right, then. Let's learn as much as we can.
Okay, so in frame data, you'll notice that there's 6 startup frames. What do you think that means?
How many frames it takes for you to start up.
Very good. That explanation's amazing. I love it. No, but in actuality, that's actually kind of true. It's how many frames it takes the move to start up, which means this, from the time I press the button to the time Cassie Cage throws that punch out, it takes 6 frames before she reaches the full extension of her arm. It takes 6 frames for that to come out, 5 frames for that one to come out.
Right.
Okay, I know that. I didn't look it up, but it's there. Trust me. So it takes 6 frames for that to come out. So in those first 6 frames, that move can't hit yet. It has to come out, which is where active frames comes in. Active frames means when she extends that arm, when it's extended, when it's actually going to hit, that's when those 3 frames come into play.
Right.
So during any point of those 3 frames, that will be able to hit you. That's where hitboxes and hurtboxes come into play.
Okay.
Hurtboxes are basically the area with which your character can be hit. When she throws this punch out, it takes a total of 24 frames. That's 24 frames right there.
Okay.
So, and obviously I got that by adding startup, active, and recovery.
Okay.
You can be hit during your startup frames, your recovery frames, and during your active frames. Which is where the frame data becomes increasingly important when you want to get competitive with the game.
Right.
And you'll notice that it's different for every move.
Right.
Like her back one starts up in 10 frames.
Right.
Really, really good for its range. Because I can stand back here and look at that. What can Sub-Zero use to hit me from here other than Ice Ball, Slide, something like that?
Yeah, because it's like 10 going forward, 5 to hit, and then when she reels it back, it's another 30.
Yep, which, as you can see, 30 frames of recovery is a lot. But that's where the combos come into play. Because if you look, this one has only 21 of recovery, and they go together. So if you're going to do this, why wouldn't you just do this?
Yeah.
It's better. It keeps you in, you get some damage, and you can obviously see that it hits. You know? You can react to it when it hits.
Right.
So, and believe it or not, if you do plan on playing Cassie, this is a go-to move.
Okay.
I was shown the light by NY Jailhouse, who I'm actually shouting out, I guess, a little bit in this video.
Hey, Jailhouse, what's up?
He does a lot of graphics work.
Nice.
He's kind of shown me the light on the Hollywood Cassie Cage, because I asked him why he thought Brawler was bad, which is, you know, getting into the more competitive side of stuff.
Right.
And it's just because, you know, Hollywood does what Brawler does, but a little bit better. Because Brawler's kind of like the intro to Cassie. If you want to learn Cassie, start out with Brawler.
Gotcha.
Which that's, again, later when we do character breakdown stuff.